You see, we live in a world obsessed with action. From the moment we wake up until the moment we sleep, we are taught that doing is the only way to exist, to be significant, to leave a mark. But let me tell you a secret the world rarely whispers. Stillness is not emptiness. Stillness is creation itself. When you stop, truly stop, the mind feels panic. It starts chattering. What are you doing? You must act, you must produce, you must achieve. But this is only the fear of the ego. The ego cannot tolerate stillness because stillness exposes its fragility. And in that exposure lies liberation. Doing nothing does not mean laziness. It does not mean becoming a lifeless observer. It is not the void of inaction. It is the fullness of being. In stillness, your mind becomes a mirror, and suddenly you see yourself not as a fragment of the world, not as a restless particle of desire, but as life itself. Stillness is the womb of transformation. From it, the most profound changes arise effortlessly, silently, invisibly. Think about a seed buried in the soil. It does nothing. It does not worry. It does not push. It does not force itself to grow. And yet, in its stillness, it becomes everything: roots that anchor, a stem that rises, leaves that breathe. Doing nothing, simply being, allows life to work its mysterious alchemy within you. Action without inner stillness is shallow. Stillness without action is fertile. The world cannot see this. The world celebrates business because business masks emptiness. But when you sit in stillness, when you allow yourself to be silent, something miraculous happens. You begin to perceive the subtle movements of your own consciousness. You discover the currents that guide your life, the deep rivers of intuition and love that have been flowing all along unnoticed. And when the time comes to act, your actions no longer come from fear or obligation. They arise naturally from harmony, from inner alignment. Stillness is revolutionary because it teaches you to trust the universe. It teaches you to listen to the unspoken dialogue of existence. In doing nothing, you paradoxically do everything because nothing blocks the flow of life anymore. You become like water, soft, silent, invisible, yet powerful enough to carve mountains and nourish forests. So do not be afraid of doing nothing. Do not be seduced by the world's illusion that movement equals progress. The greatest transformation, the most profound awakening, comes when you allow yourself to simply be, to stop, to breathe, to feel, to witness. And in that sacred stillness, everything changes. Humanity has been trapped in a lie for centuries, the lie that effort alone creates transformation, that constant striving is the key to fulfillment. But listen carefully, and you will hear the whisper of truth. It is not effort that changes life. It is presence. Effort without presence is like pouring water into a sieve. It leaves you exhausted, frustrated, and thirsty. Presence, however, is the quiet power that ripples through existence, reshaping everything without noise or struggle. Presence is not a skill, and it cannot be acquired through techniques or disciplines. Presence is the state of being fully here, fully alive, fully aware in each moment. When you are present, even the simplest act, breathing, walking, listening, becomes a meditation, a portal to transformation. The universe does not demand your sweat or your struggle. It asks only that you show up with your awareness. That is all. Consider the river. The river does not force itself to flow. It does not strain to reach the ocean. It simply is, and in its being, it carries everything along naturally. Presence is your river state. When you allow yourself to just be, without pushing or resisting, life begins to move you in ways you could never have engineered through effort alone. Suddenly, doors open. Opportunities appear, synchronicities align, and what seemed impossible becomes effortless. Effort comes from the ego. The ego says, do more, be more, achieve more. You are not enough unless you act. Presence, however, is from the soul. The soul whispers, stop, watch, realign. Everything else will follow. Effort is exhausting because it fights the natural rhythm of life. Presence is effortless because it flows in harmony with life itself. The more present you are, the less you struggle. And paradoxically, the less you struggle, the more everything falls into place. In this state of presence, even inaction becomes potent. Doing nothing while being fully present is no longer emptiness. It is creation in its purest form. A small pause, a single breath, a silent observation can shift the currents of your entire life. Presence turns the ordinary into the extraordinary. It transforms relationships, work, and your own inner world. The simplest act done with awareness carries more power than 1,000 deeds done in distraction. Osho often said, meditation is the only magic that works. And what is meditation but presence? Absolute, unwavering, effortless attention to the now. Through presence, life teaches you the art of surrender, the art of listening, and the art of trusting the unseen currents that guide you. Presence is not doing, it is being, and in being fully, you allow life itself to do everything for you. So stop striving, stop trying to force outcomes, stop filling your life with meaningless action. Instead, cultivate presence. Be here now completely, and watch how the simplest shift, just being, changes everything. Human beings are obsessed with control. We plan, we manipulate, we strategize, and we try to mold the world according to our desires. We believe that if we act enough, think enough, or force enough, we can shape life into our perfect image. And yet, the deeper truth is startling. Control is an illusion. Life is not a puzzle to be solved, nor a machine to be operated. Life is a mystery to be experienced, a river to be flowed with, not a stone to be carved. We live as though the future is a book we can write, page by page, and yet the universe laughs quietly at our schemes. A single unexpected event, a word, a glance, a breath, can unravel years of effort. And in that unraveling, life is asking us to surrender. It is in this surrender, paradoxically, that everything aligns. By letting go of control, you open the door to the natural intelligence of existence. Life begins to guide you like a gentle river carrying a leaf downstream, effortlessly, beautifully, perfectly. Control is a habit of the mind, not a necessity of existence. The mind wants to predict, to dominate, to ensure safety. But the mind cannot see the depth of life. It cannot perceive the subtle interconnections, the hidden patterns, the unseen forces that weave reality together. When you try to control life, you only create tension, resistance, and suffering. When you stop, when you do nothing, in the sense of surrendering your illusions of power, life begins to move in ways that no effort could achieve. Imagine a garden. You may water it, trim it, fertilize it, but the seeds grow according to their own rhythm. The sun rises, the rain falls, and the seasons change, all beyond your command. Yet if you step back and simply tend with awareness, the garden thrives. The same is true of your life. Control is like gripping the soil so tightly that the flowers cannot bloom. Doing nothing, in the sense of releasing control, allows life to bloom effortlessly. The paradox is exquisite. The more you surrender, the more you are in harmony with life, the more power you actually have. The ego feels powerless when it lets go, but the soul discovers infinite power in surrender. In stillness, in doing nothing, in letting life flow without interference, everything changes. Your relationships deepen, your creativity expands, opportunities appear, and a mysterious intelligence seems to guide your steps. You realize that life was never meant to be forced, it was meant to be received. So stop striving to control. Stop exhausting yourself with plans and anxieties. Stop trying to bend the river of existence to your will. Instead, breathe, relax, witness. Let life itself lead the way. Doing nothing in this sacred sense is not weakness. It is the ultimate strength. It is the secret through which the universe reshapes you, heals you, and awakens you. In letting go, you discover the astonishing truth. When you stop controlling, everything falls perfectly into place. Every human being carries a tension between two worlds, the world outside, filled with expectations, pressures, and noise, and the world within, quiet, mysterious, and vast. Most people live their lives in a constant struggle, trying to make the outer world reflect their desires, their fears, their ego. But listen carefully. True transformation begins not in the doing of the world, but in the alignment of the inner self. Inner alignment is a state where your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions flow as one river. It is a deep resonance between your being and the rhythm of life itself. When you are misaligned, every action feels heavy, every decision feels strained, every relationship becomes a battlefield. Effort is wasted, energy is drained, and joy remains distant. But when you are aligned, even the smallest act becomes powerful. Even the simplest word carries truth. Even silence becomes transformative. Doing nothing is not passive in this sense. Doing nothing allows alignment to emerge naturally. When you stop, when you pause, when you stop pushing against life, you create space for your inner self to be heard. The mind quiets, the heart softens, and suddenly you feel a subtle awakening, a sense of harmony, of rightness that was always there but buried under the clutter of doing. Alignment does not come from forcing it, from striving to be perfect, or from controlling outcomes. It comes from presence, from listening, from surrender. Think of a musical instrument. If it is tuned, it produces music effortlessly. If it is out of tune, no matter how hard you play, the sound is harsh, dissonant, painful. You cannot force harmony, you can only adjust, listen, and align. So it is with life. Inner alignment is the tuning of your own being, body, mind, and soul, so that you vibrate in harmony with the universe. From this alignment, actions arise naturally, and life unfolds in ways that feel effortless and joyful. Many people are afraid of doing nothing because they associate stillness with stagnation. But alignment is not stagnation, it is preparation. It is the fertile soil from which the seeds of authentic action grow. When you act from inner alignment, your actions no longer create conflict or suffering. They no longer drain you or the world around you. They flow like a river, inevitable, harmonious, and powerful. Osho often spoke of the dance between effort and surrender. Alignment is the point where the dance becomes effortless. It is the place where your being and life itself move together, like two lovers in perfect rhythm. You realize that you were never meant to struggle against existence. You were meant to flow with it. And in this flow, doing nothing paradoxically changes everything, because it restores the deep, invisible harmony that guides every thought, every feeling, every action. So stop trying to force your life into shapes it does not fit. Stop exhausting yourself in the pursuit of outcomes. Instead, pause, breathe, listen to your inner self, align with it. And you will discover that from inner alignment, life itself begins to act through you, effortlessly transforming everything around you. Life is never as loud as we think. Most people believe that only grand actions, visible achievements, and dramatic decisions shape destiny. But listen closely, and you will discover the hidden truth. It is the subtle movements of life that carry the greatest power. These are the whispers, the pauses, the invisible currents that guide the unfolding of everything. Doing nothing, in its sacred sense, is the doorway to perceiving these subtle rhythms. The world moves fast, and our minds are conditioned to chase the obvious. Yet life's profound shifts happen quietly, almost imperceptibly. A glance, a thought, a feeling, a single choice made with awareness. These are the sparks that ignite transformation. The trees do not shout when they grow. The river does not demand attention as it carves valleys. The wind does not announce its arrival as it shapes the dunes. Change is silent, subtle, and continuous. Only those who can still themselves, who can pause, can feel the pulse of life. Doing nothing does not mean ignoring the world. It means stepping out of the ego's frantic control and opening yourself to observation. When you pause, you become sensitive to the small signs that life is constantly offering. You begin to notice patterns, connections, and opportunities that were invisible when your mind was busy with noise. Life is always moving, always communicating, but in order to hear it, you must quiet your own voice. Consider the butterfly. It flutters lightly, seemingly insignificant, and yet its delicate movements can shift the air and affect the weather elsewhere. The famed butterfly effect. So it is with life's subtle movements. When you learn to observe, to sense, to be present, you begin to see that even what seems like nothing is infinitely significant. Doing nothing is not emptiness. It is receptivity. It is tuning yourself to the invisible currents that are quietly reshaping your existence. Osho often said that meditation is the art of watching. When you meditate, you are not forcing anything to happen. You are simply observing. And in this observation, the subtle forces of life begin to reveal themselves. Your inner world aligns with the outer, your actions become effortless, and transformation occurs naturally, almost miraculously. Doing nothing, in this sense, is a sacred act of listening to the unseen, a silent surrender that allows life to flow through you and around you. The beauty of subtlety is that it does not require struggle. It is gentle, patient, and persistent. The world cannot see it, and yet its effects are profound. When you embrace stillness, when you cultivate awareness, you learn to move with the hidden currents rather than against them. You become like water, flexible, responsive, unobtrusive, yet capable of reshaping mountains over time. So do not fear stillness, do not dismiss the quiet, do not undervalue the invisible. In the subtle movements of life, everything changes. By doing nothing, you are not doing less. You are allowing life itself to move in its own mysterious, perfect rhythm. And through this, you discover that the smallest, quietest shifts can bring the greatest transformations. Surrender is a word that frightens many people, for it seems to imply weakness, passivity, or giving up. But surrender is the ultimate strength, the highest courage, and the doorway to true freedom. When you surrender, you are not abandoning life. You are allowing life to act through you, to guide you, and to transform you in ways no effort, struggle, or force could ever achieve. Doing nothing, in this sacred sense, is surrender, and surrender changes everything. Most human suffering comes from resistance. We resist reality, resist change, resist uncertainty. We try to hold on to the past, control the present, and manipulate the future. And in this resistance, we exhaust ourselves we fragment ourselves and we close ourselves off from the infinite possibilities of existence. Surrender is the art of letting go, not giving up, but giving in to the flow of life. It is a conscious choice to stop fighting the invisible currents and to allow the universe to carry you with grace and intelligence. Surrender does not mean inactivity. It does not mean being passive or indifferent. It means aligning your inner being with the deeper rhythms of existence. When you surrender, even your inaction becomes alive. Even your stillness becomes fertile. Like a leaf floating on a river, you do nothing to steer the current, yet the river carries you effortlessly to new landscapes. Life begins to move through you, transforming your relationships, your choices, and your very self. The paradox of surrender is exquisite. The moment you let go, you gain everything. The ego fears surrender because it imagines loss, weakness, and uncertainty. But the soul knows the truth. Surrender is the doorway to liberation, creativity, love, and joy. It is the moment when you stop struggling to force life into your limited understanding and start participating in the infinite intelligence that orchestrates the universe. Doing nothing in surrender is not emptiness. It is fullness beyond imagination. Osho often said that meditation is surrender. When you meditate, you are doing nothing and yet everything is happening. The mind stops interfering, the heart opens, and the soul aligns with existence. Surrender allows you to witness the miracle that life is, rather than constantly trying to manipulate it. Through surrender, you come to understand that the world is not your enemy, that circumstances are not obstacles, and that life itself is your ally, always moving you toward growth, awareness, and bliss. In surrender, freedom is found. Freedom from fear, freedom from constant striving, freedom from the tyranny of the mind. You realize that control was never necessary, that struggle was never required, and that your true power lies in letting go. Doing nothing, surrendering completely, does not make you weak. It makes you a conduit of life itself. And in that flow, everything changes. Your heart opens, your mind clears, your spirit rises, and you touch the essence of existence infinite, effortless, and boundless. So stop resisting, stop striving, and stop trying to hold on. Breathe, let go, surrender, and watch as doing nothing becomes the most powerful act of all, transforming your life in ways you never imagined. Freedom is not found in control. It is found in surrender.